Playing at the East End Stadium, One Love United netted home 8 goals in a rout of Old Madrid FC, with Shane Prince opening the scoring in just the 5th minute on his way to a first-half hat-trick that made his season total a league-leading 14 goals. Well, teammate Colin Lavia scored his 12th goal of the season, and Jermaine May doubled up with goals, while Richard Morgan and Siobhan Williams each added a goal to the score sheet. But the victory has put Mark Savage's side in a serious position to potentially lift their first National League championship since 2018. Well, he said in a comment, and I quote, "A great game, great football being played, and we hardly skipped a beat. Seems like their team really wants to lift the trophy this year, but we will have to be at our best next weekend when we face VG United on their home turf," end quote. Well, over on Virgin Gorda, the Sugar Boys FC, despite slipping to second, held on to clinch a 2-1 victory against Panthers FC to sit with 28 points. All the goals came in the first half, with Daryl Redhead putting the boys ahead from the penalty spot in the 20th minute before Oswald Holder made it 2-0 in the 26th minute. Well, Panthers' Kerry Christmas pulled one back before the break to give his side a foothold in the game, but one they couldn't capitalize on. Well, Sugar Boys captain Redhead said the win was an important one considering the race at the top for the title with One Love FC. Well, he said, and I quote, "But the guys know the situation, and all the guys came out and gave 100% effort. We have no choice but to be our best in every game now if we want to retain our title. But I believe that if we stay focused and keep our momentum going, we will do it," end quote. But meanwhile, in the other games played over the weekend, Rebels FC defeated Islanders FC 2-0 with goals from Kelvin Glasgow and Jalen Prentice, while Sheldon Tony netted a hat-trick in VG United's 5-1 victory against Positive FC. Well, the league will continue this weekend in East End and over on Virgin Gorda. Well, on Saturday, February 11th at the East End playing field, Old Madrid FC will face Sugar Boys FC at 6:30 p.m, while at 8:30 p.m, Leonard will face Islanders. On Sunday, February 12th, the lone game at East End will be played at 5:30 p.m, with Panthers taking on Positive FC. Meanwhile, over on Virgin Gorda, VG United will play One Love United at 5:30 p.m, while at 7:30 p.m, Williams FC will play against Rebels FC. Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
Welcome viewers to the Saturday, February 11th, 2023 edition of the 284 Weekend Roundup. I am Jacko Whitting, bringing you our top stories from this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Attorney Danielle Davies recently paid a visit to our studio to discuss the concerns of the community and the legal fraternity surrounding the Police Act 2023. Ron Grant explored the issue.
The highly controversial police bill, also known as the Police Act 2023, is back, and there is an attempt to pass this bill in one sitting. Now, the Police Bill 2023 essentially seeks to remove the involvement of the courts as it relates to obtaining biometric information, searching of private property, and seizure of property. Throughout the bill, we see the term reasonable grounds. This term is treated in law and as an objective test. In other words, what an ordinary person would think if they had all the information that a police officer had. Now, in obtaining warrants, the police are tasked with information with information the court of what their reasonable grounds are for the access, seizure of property and biometric information. Now, the court's task is to consider whether such grounds are reasonable. By largely eliminating the need for warrants, this protection of the public is totally removed. This bill, if becomes legislation, effectively turns the Virgin Islands into a police state. I am today joined by attorney at law and member of the BVI Bar Association, Mr. Daniel Davies, to discuss a number of key areas of great concerns to the citizens of the Virgin Islands.
The fundamental issue that arises is that if you do not wish to give your DNA, or intimate samples, and just so the audience knows what intimate samples means, it means semen,
Yes.
pee, and that sort of thing. And if you don't provide that DNA or intimate sample upon request, it can be held against you essentially in court, because what the section says is that if you fail to give these samples upon request without a good cause, then the court or the jury can draw whatever inferences they wish from it, including negative inferences. It's quite scary because, firstly, we have a constitution. We have a constitutional right to privacy, and if you're not charged with anything, if you're not convicted of anything, that is to say you're acquitted of something, or if the prosecution decides they're not going to continue with the case, then why should your DNA or your biometric information like fingerprints, which can be, by the way, taken without a warrant and without consent, or footprints and so on and so forth, why should they remain on a government database? And yes, I understand that there is a necessity to solve crimes in the territory, but there's also the necessity to ensure persons' rights and privacy.
In addition to this, particularly when you look at the fact that police are or could be allowed with the passing of this bill to search people's dwelling without a warrant if they have reasonable grounds or for believing that a person does not live there or does not have permission to the ground. We mentioned in the introduction where this, and you could perhaps tell me if you agree or not, does this now not open the door for persons being tarnished, evidence being planted in that manner?
That is a grave concern that members of the criminal bar have expressed to me. That is a very real possibility.
The full interview with Mr. Davies is available across all our 284 media platforms. Debates on the controversial Police Act 2023 will continue in future, with the government intending to pass it, but not without dramatic changes to the contents of the bill. According to Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, the postponement will allow for, quote, more time to consult, discuss, and prepare for necessary amendments to be considered by the House of Assembly and the public.
I want to make it clear, Madam Speaker, that there is no intention by any member of this House of Assembly to pass this bill in its current form. We recognize a number of areas that are clearly problematic. Members of the House of Assembly have engaged the Bar Association, individual lawyers, concerned citizens, and a number of others. And the concerns have been consistent. We convened an informal meeting of the House of Assembly, and we communicated with top officials of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and communicated that under no circumstances would this bill be passed without amendments to the areas that have caused such grave concern to the members of the House and the public at large.
Wheatley spoke during a recent sitting of the House of Assembly, specially held on Friday, February 10th. The sitting was originally scheduled with the intention of debating the bill. A change of tides came following a meeting with stakeholders the previous day. The bill has been widely criticized by members of the public. Residents questioned the draconian powers the bill granted to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, the invasion of Virgin Islanders' privacy, and the apparent rush of the government to pass the bill. There has also been criticism surrounding the perceived low level of consultation made on such an impactful piece of legislation. In acknowledging these concerns, Wheatley had this to say.
Obviously, Madam Speaker, the bill was not passed by the third House of Assembly, and it was again introduced in the fourth House of Assembly. It was introduced a number of times but not passed. It has been in the public sphere literally for years. There has been significant time spent, significant edits, and criticisms heard, which include public concerns. Madam Speaker, I personally was involved in consultations on the Police Act in Virgin Gorda, Anegada, Jos Van Dyke, and all throughout Tortola. As a result of the feedback we received last year, we proposed a number of amendments to the bill. In addition to the proposed amendments based on public consultation, a number of additional amendments were made to the bill that the public did not request and the public were not privy to. These changes are reflected in the bill that was introduced to the House of Assembly a week ago.
Wheatley said that it is intended that areas of concern within the bill will be removed during the committee stage. And with that, we take you to a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the 103rd season of the NFL! It's that time for the NFL playoffs every weekend with CCT Live, showing every game on CBS, NBC, ABC, and ESPN, including the Super Bowl. Sign up for CCT Live today.
There's no game like this game!
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry. I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Ahead of the official opening of the ROADTOWN Market Square on Monday, February 13th, 2023, 284 Media took to the streets of ROADTOWN to engage with farmers and get a feel of their perspective surrounding this development. That day, it was made abundantly clear to our team that a majority of farmers were not in the least interested in occupying the available booths, while others said that they were uncertain whether moving from their roadside spots in favor of inhabiting the market square would be profitable. When contacted for comment, Director for Agriculture and Fisheries, Theodore James, said that he too had observed this trend within the vendor community. He noted that many vendors, now well established in their spots, are likely to prefer to remain where they are, where their customers can find them.
Most farmers that I have come into contact with and have heard discuss prefer Sir Oliver George's Plaza, and some of them have their spot throughout ROADTOWN where their customers meet them. Some will be on the Sunday morning as well as the park in the 4th District. I've seen them there as well as Bobby's Front So it's sporadic. The feeling is mixed among farmers.
Meanwhile, vendors who were initially interested in moving into the market square told our team that they were put off by the relatively steep price tag attached for monthly rent of the booths. Vendors are expected to pay $300 or $450 per month to occupy the booths. City Manager Janice Brathwaite-Edwards justified the cost as reasonable, considering the investments made into the facility.
First and foremost, nothing is free. It cost us a pretty penny to build those buildings and have them furbished as they are, and that comes with a price. I think that the price is reasonable as it relates to what it is we are offering in that particular location. Keeping in mind that is prime city real estate.
Despite this, it is anticipated that every booth in the market square will be inhabited at the first instance. Brathwaite-Edwards told our news team that there have been 17 applications made for the 15 available booths. Over a period of 72 hours leading up to the opening ceremony on Monday, these applications will be reviewed and successful candidates will be assigned booths. She explained that the process will be guided by a list of criteria.
What is happening is there's a team of government agencies that will come together to review the application. Once you've met the requirements on the application, then you would be selected to go in. And we have some criteria out of 100. So when you meet the criteria, then you'd be given an opportunity once you have at least 70 to 75%. You'll be given an opportunity to get a space in the new market square.
For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding. The Coalition National Unity Government will cease to exist after the House of Assembly has been dissolved to allow for the 2023 general election. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley gave that confirmation during a press conference following his win at the Virgin Islands Party Congress election on Sunday.
Okay, the National Unity Government, this coalition, was something that was done to really avoid crisis. We came together as three parties, of course. Now we're seeking a clear mandate from the people of the Virgin Islands moving forward. What administration they want to take not only the reforms forward, but the governance of the territory as we chart a course for the next 15, 20 years. That's what we're asking for the people of the Virgin Islands. Of course, the coalition has served its purpose in taking us to the elections. Of course, we've established some level of stability in the country, but we are seeking a clear mandate from the people.
Wheatley says he expects to continue having the support of the opposition even after the election, once successful at the polls.
We would expect, even with the Virgin Islands Party government, that we have the support of members of the opposition. You know, we would support that, and we expect that the whole House of Assembly would be working together towards the same goal. And you're absolutely right, Kathy. We respect the fact that, of course, we had a coalition with Honorable Marlon Penn, Honorable Mitch Turnbull, as well as Honorable Mark Vanterpool, who are the three other members of the unity government. But of course, the Virgin Islands Party is presenting a whole team of persons who can be relied on to do what has to be done to protect the interests of the people of the Virgin Islands, including ensuring that our Constitution is not suspended, and including ensuring that we respect the rule of law, we have transparency, accountability, good governance, and of course, number one, we deliver progress for the people of the Virgin Islands.
Also this week, the Premier was faced with the question of what he believes will happen should the people of the Virgin Islands elect a government or a slate of district representatives of which the United Kingdom is not fond of, and whether or not this could trigger a decision from the mainland to move forward with the Order in Council. Here's what the Premier had to say.
It's not the place of the UK to choose leaders for the Virgin Islands. That's for the Virgin Islands people to do. The Virgin Islands people have to choose the leaders that they think are best suited to take them forward. But we also have to think very carefully when we elect a leader, whether we want a leader who's going to have an antagonistic and confrontational relationship with our partners, important partners, or whether we want a leadership that's going to engage positively and seek to secure the best interests of the people of the Virgin Islands through those international relationships. And we have signed on to a commitment, and it's a commitment that goes across administrations. We've signed on to the framework for the COY recommendations. And no, I do not think, this is for the United Kingdom to answer, but no, I do not think that if you vote for a party and they don't like the party, that they'll suspend the Constitution the next day. No, I don't believe that. But I do believe if we waver in our commitments to do what we signed on to, you will risk the suspension of your Constitution. I will say that.
In a moment of self-reflection, Wheatley considered his own political journey and how he has had to noticeably adjust to better align to the needs of his role and his team.
So behind the scenes, of course, during those first 3 years, you would have lots of intense discussions and debates. It doesn't necessarily mean that you always agreed. But of course, what happened, happened. Looking back on the 3 years, of course, I would say again, it takes a big man to say, in this area, I was wrong.
True.
In this area, I was wrong. In this area, I was wrong. And if you're going in the wrong direction when it comes to a particular area, it's in your best interest to do a U-turn. It doesn't mean that everything that happened before was bad. Let's say, for instance, the new schools. We made the decision to build the new schools during our first 3 years. It doesn't mean that that was bad. We made a decision to do that Anegada solar project during our first 3 years. It doesn't mean that those things were bad. So we take the good, we leave the bad, we learn from our mistakes.
He says that above all, he has understood to take the good, leave the bad, and learn from mistakes. He added that it is now up to the people of the Virgin Islands to decide whether or not they see the improvement.
Of course, it's up to the people. The people will have the choice. They'll have. We're going to hold you accountable for that, or know what? We think that you have improved and you are better leaders because of that. That is in the hands of the people, and that's the democratic process.
And with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We continue with news that former Director of the Water and Sewage Department, Mrs. PERLINE SCATTLIFFE Leonard, has announced her candidacy for the 7th Electoral District. SCATTLIFFE Leonard made the announcement during a press conference this week that was held at Fat Hogs Bay East End.
It has been a long road. We have been for a number of years now trying to get PERLINE on the scene that I'm about to place myself on. I am very passionate about OBVI. I am very passionate about nation building. My passion is big. So there's no doubt that what I intend to do is something that I know God is leading me to. I am very spiritual, I'm very spiritual. Whatever I do, I take it to the knees to make sure that my spirit is alive and my spirit feels calm with what I'm about to do.
The former director said her more than 3 decades in the public service has prepared her for what is to come in the life of politics.
I've been working with the civil service for 33 years. So last month, January 19th, 2023 would have been my 33rd year. So I have given much of my time, much of my years to the public service, and I have no regrets. I've seen everything. I've been through the thick and the thin. I've seen the pretty and the ugly. So I know I'm well prepared for what I'm about to do. When I got into the public service in 1990, I met with managers and permanent secretaries who I came up under, permanent secretaries who, work with integrity. They work with policies. They ensure that whatever was done within policies and regulations. So you could understand how some people would call it a stiff jacket I am for policies and procedures.
To approach her new path into politics with integrity, transparency, and accountability.
I sincerely hope that the people of District 7, over the course of the coming weeks, would accept me into their homes. I'm coming. So I am going to do my very best to answer all the questions that are out there. I know there are many questions, and I am prepared to answer them, honestly answer them, because that's who anybody who knows Perlin knows that I'm straightforward, and sometimes, the straightforward is some person's own life. But I always say that once you are straightforward and you're honest with that straightforward thinking or mannerism, things work out. Things may not work out in the beginning, but certainly somewhere along the line, or certainly at the very end of the line, everything will be good. So that is my mantra. Work with integrity, work with honesty, work with transparency, and hence why I actually had done a certification in governance and accountability, so that you get a greater understanding of what's expected of you.
SCATTLIFFE Leonard is now one of 3 candidates that will be contesting for District 7 in the upcoming general election. She joined a race that currently includes incumbent District Representative Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley and independent candidate Kevin Letsam. Virgin Islander KYRA James continues to make the territory proud as she stamps her name on the international media scene as a content producer. KYRA, who presently works for the Recording Academy, which is famous for the Grammy Awards, was highlighted for the role she played during the week of activities which led up to the big night. 24 Media spoke with KYRA in an exclusive interview on how she felt about Virgin Islanders getting recognition at the awards.
When you see people doing these things, you believe that you could do it too. And I think being on a small island so far away from the mainland, we have to experience these things through TV. You have to watch other people do it. And I think oftentimes you don't even believe that could be you one day, that you could be in the room watching live like I was, because there's this mental barrier. And so seeing people do it who from the same couple square miles as you, I think now breaks down that mental barrier. And you're like, oh my God, KYRA left from the Grammys. T1 just win Record of the Year. If they could do it, I could do it too. And one of my goals, because I'm still at the very beginning of my journey in entertainment, in content production, in social. And one of my personal goals is really to increase Caribbean and by extension Virgin Islands representation in all the things that I create.
KYRA also shared some of her most memorable moments working at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards.
It was definitely watching Beyonce make history. I'm a huge Beyonce fan, of course. I mean, why wouldn't anyone be a Beyonce fan? I think we were both really looking forward to seeing her make history that night. And the moment it happened, everyone stood up immediately. And so it was like goosebumps. You couldn't stop screaming, you couldn't stop clapping to see this Black woman who has worked so hard get the accolades she deserves. So that was definitely the highlight, along with seeing all the performances. And as a producer, watching the parts you don't get to see on TV, the sections of the stage moving, how they handle all of that. I think seeing it from inside the room and taking mental notes as a producer myself was really interesting as I apply those things into producing my own events one day locally. It was cool to see that too.
The former Carrot Bay resident, who now resides in Los Angeles, USA, also spoke on her approach to dealing with many celebrities that she interacted with on the night.
I was working a lot of the week, so like I said, I'm glad I was able to experience Sunday just as an attendee, because all Recording Academy staff get complimentary tickets to the show. So the other events where I was actually working, you kind of have to switch certain parts of you, right? Like I can't approach people as KYRA the fan. I'm at work, so there's a certain level of professionalism that comes with that. And so you're really happy, but of course you have to keep it professional. I'm huge fan of Chloe and Halle. And so getting to interview them, getting to interview legends like Smokey Robinson, getting to meet Stevie Wonder, it's definitely super exciting, but I can't just be like, oh my God, can I get a picture? I can't be like that. I have to be professional.
The full interview is available across all our Tweet4Media platforms. And that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at tweet4media.com and like us on Facebook at Tweet4Media and Tweet4BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Jacko Whitting, and I will see you again next week. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.